Welcome back to Buses, Bikes, and Beers, everybody.
Welcome back.
So happy you're here.
In this week's episode, we're going to start diving a little bit deeper into the Apollo mission. 2 bicycles, 1 country. That's our ride across the U.S. If you didn't watch last week's episode, you might want to go back and do that. We had a great interview with Ryan Van Duzer where he gave us a ton of valuable learnings about long-term touring and bikepacking. This dive is broken into 4 chapters, 4 parts. The bike, the route, the gear, and then training. This week we're going to cover the first 2, and then the following week we'll cover the second 2 chapters.
Just to remind you, we're going to be bicycling across the United States, and we're going to try and raise money for the Boise Bicycle Project, which we think is a very valuable cause here in Idaho that supports what we believe is important, bicycling.
They really do have a huge impact. They make a big impact on not only the cycling community, but the community at large in Boise, and they definitely deserve some support. Over the course of this mission, we are trying to generate $3,400 that goes directly to the Boise Bicycle Project. That represents 1 mile for every dollar we spend. No, that's wrong. That represents $1 for every mile we're going to ride. So please consider contributing. Link below. Sit back, relax, enjoy this dive into our
Upcoming adventure,
the Apollo mission. So, thank you.
We have been given the scientific knowledge, the technical ability,
and the bicycle to pursue the exploration of the USA. This is the Priority Apollo gravel bike with its signature low maintenance and highly reliable drivetrain, disc brakes, and strong but lightweight aluminum frame and carbon fiber fork. This is the awesome Priority Apollo bicycle. This is the bicycle we chose to ride across the US for a couple of key reasons. In addition to having it being highly recommended by our buddy Ryan Van Duzer, but because it has their signature low maintenance drivetrain with the Shimano 11-speed Alpine internal gear hub and the Gates carbon fiber belt. That means no greasy chain, no chain adjustments, no derailleur adjustments, no oiling the chain. Highly reliable. We didn't want to have to mess around with that. That was a key selling factor. The other thing is this is actually a very, very nice gravel bike. It has an aluminum frame. It's an awesome aluminum frame. It's well built. The geometry is really good for us. It has very good disc brakes, and overall this was a great starting point to take this gravel bike and convert it into the touring bike that we need for this trip. So what do we do to convert it to a touring bike? Well, let's go through it. First, we got the Axiom rack. This rack we bought from Priority when we bought the bikes. It's lightweight, it's strong, it's going to be great for mounting our bags. We also have fenders. This is the customer fender that if you've been with the channel for a while, you saw us fabricate this fender. It dealt with a lot of issues we were having with the sort of off-the-shelf fender. We left the off-the-shelf fender on the front because it works very well in the front. So we put fenders. We put these nice Salsa bottle holders, water bottle holders, which have a side exit. They're actually very, very handy. We've got a bag here for tools, normal sort of bag. We have the Top Peak top bar bag. It's very handy. If you don't ride with one of these, you're missing out because it's just really handy to get to the stuff that you need to get to while you're riding. Similar, the Slap bag. This thing is awesome. Custom made by a guy in
Seattle?
No, I think he's in Spokane, but he makes these super easy one-handed access. You can put your snacks, you can put whatever in there. Very nice. Obviously, I have a Garmin mount. We put a bell on there. It's a Roswheel front rack that it took me a little while to get it installed. I'm back at Frank's place today, continuing to work on the bike. I got the Apollo back on the rack, and I bought this Roswell front rack. I believe it's going to fit on the Apollo for the front panniers, but I'm not 100% sure. So today I'm going to see if I can get this to fit. It's probably an hour and a half later. I've got the rack on, but I can't get it centered. I'm struggling to get it centered. So I'm not happy about that. And then if you look, you can't see it, but the through axle bolt is under the rack. So it's hiding the through axle. And so what that means is if we're on our trip and I get a flat where I have to take the tube, put a new tube in, and we are thinking about going tubeless, but if we end up having to take the wheel off, that means I have to take the panniers off, which isn't that big a deal, but then I have to take the rack off the bike, and then, so I can get access to the through axle to change the front wheel. Not sure that's something I'm gonna wanna do. So I'm gonna continue to mess around with it, try if I can get it centered and mounted to where I'm happy with it, and then I'll make a determination about this through axle problem, but it's not going very good, but I'm gonna keep working on it. Yeah, that's just the way it goes sometimes. Well, some more tweaking. I was able to get it pretty well centered. I got it all tightened up. The panniers fit on it pretty well. It's no clearance issues with any of the brakes or anything like that. The problem is the whole rack will have to come off if I ever have to get at the tire. So that means 2 screws on this side, 2 screws on that side. There's some little shims and washers and stuff, but I took it off, put it back on, and it seems to have pretty much found itself back in the same place. So that's what I worried about. I didn't want to be, you know, out on the road and have to be tweaking around with it. So I think it's going to work. But it's going to hold the front panniers, and then we have this front bar bag, which attaches through a very sturdy mount on the handlebars and is removable. You can take this off, and this is going to be super handy. We also made this laminated sheet that we'll carry along to get people to donate to our cause, which is the Boise Bicycle Project. If you haven't donated, please do. There'll also be a link in the description of the video. And then we have a quick link to our YouTube channel for folks that we meet along the route that maybe want to join the Buses, Bikes, and Beers family. Okay, I think that covers everything we did to convert these. No, the gearing. We did, and again, we did a video on this, but we did convert the gearing to lower the gearing so that we can get over the mountains with the fully loaded bikes. So we changed the 50-tooth front sprocket to a 46 and the stock 24-tooth to a 26 in the back. Made a huge difference in the way these bikes climb. We also changed the pedals. These were not the pedals that came on it. These are the SPD this way or just flat pedals this way. We will be using both, but we did upgrade the pedals. And we have cycling sandals with the SPD cleat underneath. We used them on Ragbri and the Red Dragon last year. We like those because it allows our feet to have some airflow in the summer. Mary Beth tends to get hot foot if she doesn't have enough airflow in her feet, and so now we can wear sandals with no socks, and that's gonna be great for us. So we left the stock saddle on. This is the saddle that came with the bikes. We thought we'd have to probably put new saddles, but it turns out these are actually quite nice saddles. They're the Pure saddle from WTB, and we're quite happy with these saddles. So these are the saddles we're going to put our butts on for 3,400 miles. You notice we do have tubes here. These bikes came tubeless ready, but we're not tubeless. We are going to convert these to tubeless. That's one of the last things we have to do before the trip is convert these to tubeless, but we will continue to carry a tube for worst case scenarios. But yeah, we're going all in on tubeless. We've never done it, but we're convinced it's the way to go. I hope we're right. Yeah, bags. So we we did a lot of research, but we sort of ended up picking the old standard Ortlieb back roller classic, waterproof, super tough. People swear by these bags. They're often rated as the #1 bag. Yeah, they're a little expensive, but we really liked the waterproof. They're big. They're 20 liters each. So we each have 2 of these. They go on the back racks. And then for my bike, I got 2 of these. I think they're 10-liter, same family of bags as the back. This will mount 2 of these on the front. And we did a practice run, and we're able to fit everything in those 6 bags. So I think we're going to be good. So that's the bike. There's one more thing I'll talk about. I took the kickstand off. It was driving me nuts. So we had an old tent that the fabric had gotten holes in it, and we threw the tent away, but I kept the poles. So I had a bunch of these poles. So I basically took these tent poles, cut them down to be the right length, strung some new elastic, and then I fabricated this thing, which is part of a tailpipe and some an electrical fitting and some epoxy and inner tube, which the inner tube's failing. I think I've got a little more work to do there. Anyway, but this is our homemade click stand that we will be using. I made 2 of them. So you do have to have something to hold the brakes for a click stand to work. But yeah, parking brake. Yeah, that's what it's called. This is the bike. It used to be a gravel bike. Now it's a touring bike. That's it for the bike. Route starts in Astoria, Oregon at the Fort Stevens State Park, which is located at the mouth of the Columbia River, where it drains into the Pacific Ocean. Our route then follows the Columbia River inland along Highway 30 to Portland, where we cross into Washington State and follow Highway 14 up the north side of the Columbia through the Columbia River Gorge. At a place called Biggs Junction, we cross over the Columbia River back into Oregon and make our way through the northeast part of Oregon and into the Boise area of Idaho. From Boise, we climb through the Sawtooth Mountains and drop into Argo, Idaho, and the high mountain desert of southeast Idaho, and then home to Idaho Falls for a few days. From home, we ride to Alpine, Wyoming, of course stopping at Melvin Brewing, then up the Snake River Canyon to Jackson, Wyoming. We travel north out of Jackson, past the Tetons, turning east at Moran and following Highway 26 down into the northern plains, eventually finding ourselves in Casper, and then continuing east into Nebraska, where we pick up the Cowboy Trail. As we continue east, we find ourselves in the Sioux City area a few days before RAGBRAI starts, and then we see all of our friends on RAGBRAI 2022 as we cross Iowa. After RAGBRAI, we continue east to Madison, Wisconsin, where we'll rest a few days with Mary Beth's family before heading to Milwaukee to catch a ferry across Lake Michigan. After crossing the lake, we ride across Michigan and into Ontario. We pedal across part of Ontario and then back into the US at Niagara Falls, where we pick up the Erie Canal Trail and ride it to Rochester. Then we head southeast, and after crossing New York State, we end our adventure in New York City at the Priority Bike headquarters. As part of our planning process, we've been creating a spreadsheet that details each day in terms of distance, feet of climb, and possible location to pitch the tent. In addition to camping, we are members of Warm Showers and will be seeking hosts along the way where that makes sense. There's also a few hotel stays planned so we can have a real bed and a place to edit some BBB episodes. We do realize that we won't follow this plan exactly, since things tend to happen that change plans, but it gives us some level of confidence in the route. According to the spreadsheet, we'll be pedaling 3,438 miles and climbing 81,066 feet over the course of 74 days, which includes rest days. At the end of the route, and after spending some time in New York City visiting some family, we plan to take the train back to the closest Amtrak station, which is in Salt Lake City. We might even pedal home from Salt Lake, since we'll have our bikes and gear with us. Well, that's about it for parts 1 and 2, the bike and the route. Please let us know if you have any input, questions, or suggestions in the comments. Stay tuned for next week when we review the gear we'll be taking and how we're training. Thanks for watching, and thanks for being part of the Apollo mission. Enjoy the ride. Wear a helmet.